thought you might like to see what your investment built.
No fossil fuels. Free clean energy for an entire city. 3 years ago, a Russian scientist published a paper on weaponized fusion reactions. 1 week later, your reactor started developing problems. I think this machine works.
Miranda, if it were operational, danger in Gotham would be too great.
Would it make you feel better to know that the Russian scientist died in a plane crash 6 months ago?
Someone will work out what Dr. Pavel did. Someone will figure out a way to make this power source into a nuclear weapon.
Yo. Guess what, guys? We are back. Go Deep, episode 127. I think this is 127. I'm pretty sure this is 127. Or, hold on, let me find out. I lied. This is Go Deep, episode 128. God damn, I just be doing too much. I be forgetting and shit. Go Deep, episode 128. I got my dog in here. The dude known as Jeffery. The dude otherwise known as Jeffery. WArzone. He's a cool dude. I met him on I don't know whether it was Vero, Twitter, or Instagram. I don't remember, but I talked to him a lot on Instagram. He's a real cool dude from Tennessee. Smart dude, real smart. The way he like investigates and dig for shit is pretty cool. He's one of those guys that just sees everything on the internet. But you know, we've been talking for a while. Just he comments on my shit all the time in my comment section. So I was like, dog, man, me and you might as well do a podcast. I like to do that. I like to bring just random people. Like if you're in my comment section and you're talking a lot, I'll ask you, yo, you might as well say it on a podcast. And a lot of times they do. Sometimes people don't want to get on a podcast, and that's understandable. But my dog Jeffrey did, and here it is today. Go Deep episode 128. We've been on a high lately. I'm just trying to keep this high going so we don't fall off. Yeah, bitch.
This is what they want, huh? This is what it's all about. Wow, time to take affirmative action, son.
Niggas just don't understand, you know what I mean? Niggas coming sideways, thinking something sweet, man. You know what I mean? Niggas don't understand the four devils. Lust, envy, hate, jealousy. Yeah. Wicked niggas, man. Yo, sit back, relax, catch a contact, sip your cognac, and let's all wash this money through this laundromat. Sneak attack, the new cats and rap worth top dollar. In fact, touch mines and I'll react. A rock waller. Who could relate? We play for high stakes and gon' catch 'em and break. Undress some time with tape, no escape. The Coleon, Chini Capone, home in your own zone. To get the clap in your dome. Song, the firm are the wars unknown. Lower your tone, face it. Homicide cases get thrown. Aristocrats, politicking with diplomats. See me, I'm unofficial. Lex Coop,
criminal thoughts in the reports. My desert beat to be the Newport. A nigga died too short. That nigga's dead on. That Kia Heron. They found his head on the couch. In his mouth, I put the hit out. Yo, the smoothest killer since Bugsy. Bitches love me, and Queens where my drugs be. I wear Guess jeans and rugbies. Yo, my people, Medina, they will see you when you re-up, bring your heater or your queen goes between us. Real shit, my Desert Eagle got an ill grip. I chill with niggas that hit Dominicans, still bricks. My red beam made a dread scream and sprayed a Fed team. Corleone be turning niggas to fiends. Yukons and Ninja Black Lexus. Mega the pretty boy with Mafia connects. A firm nigga said it.
Yo, my mind is seeing through your design like blind fury. I shine Jerry sipping on crushed grapes. We lust papes and push cakes inside the casket at Just Wait. It's sickening. He just finished bidding upstate. And now the project is talking that somebody gotta die shit. It's logic as long as it's nobody in my clique. My man Smoke knew how to expand coke and Mr. Coffee. Feds cost me $2 million to system off me. Life's a bitch, but God forbid the bitch divorce me. I'll be flooded with ice or hellfire, scorch me. Cuban cigars, meeting Foxy at the Mars, moving cars. Your top poppy, Senior Escobar.
In the black Camaro, firm deep, all my niggas hail the blackest sparrow. While the bees beat the apparel through the darkest tunnel. I got visions of multi-millions in the biggest bundle. In the Lex, pushed by my nigga Jungle. E-money bags, got my West Sean Dawn. Bundle of 62, they ain't got a clue about the do. My whole team, we shitting hard like Czar. Soulside, Foxy Brown, Cormega, and Escobar. I keep a fat Marquise piece, laced in all the illest snakeskin. Armani sweaters, Carolina Herrera. Be the firm, baby. From BK to the bridge, my nigga Wiz, Operation Firm Biz. So what the deal is, I keep a fat Jewel, sipping Christie, sitting on top of 50 grand in the Nautica van. We stay incognito like all them thug niggas in Marcy. The guards, they praise Allah with visions of Gandhi. Bet it on, my whole crew is Don Juan. On Cayman Island with a case of Cristal and Baba Shala spoke. Nigga with them Cubans that snort coke. Raw though, an ounce mixed with leak that's pure though. Flipping the bigger picture, the bigger with the cheddar was Mad Jipper. He had a fucking villa in Manila. We got the fleet in Panama. But weight is half and half. Keys is 1 2/5 on how we flip. 32 grams raw, chopping in half, get 16. Double it times 3. We got 48, which mean a whole lot of cream. Divide the profit by 4, subtract it by 8. We back to 16. Now add the other 2 to bring it through. So let's see. If we flip this other key, then that's more for me. Mad coke and mad leak plus a 500. Cut in half is 250. Now triple that times 3. We got 3/4 of another key. The Firm, baby. Volume 1.
Once again, infamous, back in the house once again. Life, gather diamonds and guns and now gems, gas, like a big set, put stems. The wall got the bomb, run out and tell the friend, drop the gem on. Back in the house again, live the life, gather diamonds and guns and gems, pull gas. Like a big set, put stems. The wall got the bomb, run out and tell the friend, drop a gem on him. Sick and tired, ugly fake folks retire. They got your gas, take a match and smack fire out ya maggot ass. Represent QBC. Smoke that ass like a Lucy, though I need to quit. Fuck it, I love it like a cloud. Over the project, shit game, I'm above it. Combat, gas bangers and all that. You just small cap, whatever you want, get off that. I mentioned nothing real shit presenting. The hollow tip, full 41st side convention. Full, stepping like a fresh tech out of the box. Yo, niggas I'm testing, that's no question. Bitch ass confessing like a DT. Left is the pressure. You under pressure. Intact, no doubt, cat a snitch snatcher. Shookin' with asthma, you Casper, you yell my name. That's giving me props. Plus the fins that you got, whether it was got you hot. It's too knocked out the box and got rocked. Got raped on the island, you officially got. Kick that dog shit, buy a magazine on some love shit. Keep it real, kid, cause you don't know who you fuck. Infamous, back in the house again. Live the life, gather diamonds and guns and gems. Full gas, like a bass head, put stems. The wall got the bomb, run out and tell the friend, drop the gem on. Back in the house once again. Life, diamonds and guns and gems. Full gas, like a bass head, put stems. The wall got the bomb, run out and tell the friend, drop a gem on him. Drop a gem on him, son. You know I got jewels, infinite, son. Yeah. Yeah, likewise, some rap guys is faggots and peer shut-eyes and swole up your whole outside. Baptized, niggas get wet, backside, get clap-ties and set straight, put on your head straight. Watch out for these upstate cats, be leery of New Yiddy niggas with gas. With the wall on they back, Rikers Island flashbacks of the house you got scuffed it in. You would think that getting your headshots enough, but then now you wanna go on my team. I'm drunk when you wrote that shit. Too bad you did it to your own self. My rebellion, retaliate. I had the whole New York state aiming at your face at the gate. Bottom line off top, soon as you came through. shots flew, don't even know the half of my crew. I got strong arm niggas ready rock the shit. Clocks tick, your days are numbered. Digits, you look suspicious. Suspect bitches get chopped up. Grade A meats, delicious, and lace back up. 2 G's, stitches, to reconstruct your face and learn how to speak again. My mom like a bunch of wild Puerto Ricans with bangers the size of African spears. It's warfare in the arena. We turn arenas in the house of horror. Terror zone. When you see my clique, you need to run behind shit. You gotta get, you find it and use that shit. Think fast and get reminded of robberies in Manhattan. You know what happened. 60 G, gun clapping. Who shot you? You probably scream louder than an opera. New York gotcha. Now you wanna use my mob as a crutch. What you think you can't get bucked again? Once again, back in the house once again. Life, dime, guns and gems, pull gas. Like a bass set, steps. The mall got the ball, run out and tell a friend it's the infamous. Back in the house once again. Life, dead and diamonds and guns, gems, pull gas. Like a bass set, steps. The mall got the ball, run out and tell a drop a gem on me.
Guys, welcome back. I got a newcomer to the Snydercut, to the newcomer to the Go Deep family. This is Go Deep episode 128. I got my homeboy Jeffery, the WArzone killer in this bitch. What's going on, Jeffery? How's everything, man?
It's going good. Just got from a family get together. It's going good.
All right, that's what's up. So I see you on I see you sometimes in my YouTube comment section, and I see you on Instagram a lot. You always have some cool shit to say, so it was just like, yo, man, let's just do a podcast, you know? And here we are, Go Deep episode 128. So you said you wanted to start from, maybe you want to skip all that other shit and just go straight into the Zack Snyder in movie theaters, huh?
Yep.
Snydercut in movie theaters. All right. So what about that intrigues you?
So really, if you remember earlier from a few Go Deep episodes ago, you were talking about how we did so well that the Snyder Cut might be in theaters.
Right.
And really, I want to add more weight to that, as it seems that it may seem like you're actually right about that.
Oh shit!
Because I've found a lot of cool stuff. So let's start with this one where we have where I DM'd you about really Comic-Con experience.
Right.
Now, Comic-Con experience, for those who don't know, is where Warner Brothers has the biggest presence there. And what I mean by that is like how big? It's like celebration big.
It's like what?
And
celebration
really,
big? You said celebration
for Comic-Con experience.
Right.
to be like, if I were a businessman and I wanted to make con experience the biggest, that's what I would do.
Right.
I would have, because let's face it, we have Gal Gadot being there and them showing Wonder Woman 1984,
Right.
and that trailer is going to come out there.
Right.
So who's to say really cast is there? Because we also have Ray Fisher saying he's still Cyborg.
Right.
We recently had people saying that he's still Superman.
Right.
And we coincidentally have Ben Affleck in a movie called The Way Back.
Mm.
So really, like I said, if I were a businessman and seeing the New York Times talking about the quote most talked about movie of 2019,
Right.
I would send it in theaters.
Right. Definitely. So you think my little video I did the other day might have some fact to it? Okay. So you said the Comic-Con experience, that is that different than San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, it's kind of like the D23, but for Warner Brothers, where they have like the biggest influence there.
And where is it gonna be held at?
Brazil.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't know it was called that, but I hear people talking about the Brazil. Right, okay. So, you said Gal Gadot is gonna be down there?
It's actually called Gal Gadot, from what I've been told, but yeah,
I thought
they're actually going to show the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer there.
Right.
So really, I want to go into something a little bit deeper, which actually kind of does also more weight to have more weight to it that might be in theaters.
All right, let's hear it. Go deep, baby.
So first, I did some research on IMDb.com, and as it turns out, there's a quote untitled movie for April of next year.
Right.
Now, if you remember, in HBO Max opens up at May.
Right.
April is a month before May.
Right. Correct.
So there's that.
Right. So they can give it a month. They'll give it a month run and then throw it right on HBO Max, huh?
Maybe not. Because here's also what I think. So, like, that's really a possibility, or it may not be on HBO Max at all.
Oh, all right.
Because really, so like I said, maybe not. So then we go into Jay Oliva, who, if you don't follow on Twitter or go too much into him, I think it was either yesterday or Thursday, where he went out when he basically put a flamethrower to Jody's corner.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
And so I took images of what Jay Oliva said. And this one is interesting. but here's the thing. TOIWERE. We're going to, but here's the thing. TOI. We're going to see these characters because we know and love.
Right.
So here's the thing that really catches my eye is that TOI thing is really an anagram for transfer of information. Yeah, you want to talk about go deep? There it is.
That is deep. That is deep. All right.
Then we also had, of course, that major Warner Brothers accounts in the following Zack Snyder on Twitter. If you don't know about that.
Right. Yeah, I did see that.
And also people did also see on the news that the HBO Max official account on Instagram liked a release the Snydercut post.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Yep, it's actually on the news on that.
Damn.
So then we go into, and then a few minutes later, it got deleted. They unliked it, I mean. Now people saw that as, oh, HBO Max, Snyder Cut and HBO Max confirmed. But then, really, here's how I see it. I see it as you said also in that Go Deep episode, that they were supposed to announce to put it in for HBO Max.
Right.
But then when they deleted that tweet, but yeah, wait, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So yeah, really, I believe that you were also onto something where they were supposed to announce that HBO Max was going to have the Snyder Cut.
Right.
Then that Twitter event basically blew up, and the aftermath was that we blew up so much that we actually ended up on morning TV news.
Yep.
And like I said, and really, like, if you also think about it, also on Vero, Zack Snyder posted yesterday, or no, I think that was also Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. So on Saturday, we had Zack Snyder post that he had a cup of coffee, and really that's pretty much it.
Right.
So, and I really did do this first. I forgot who it was on Twitter, but it popped up somewhere that the dude basically Googled the location and Googled the directions, and here's the interesting thing. The location was Founders Coffee at Los Angeles, LA.
Right.
And so this dude puts that into Google Maps and then puts it into Warner, like from Founder Coffee to Warner Brothers Studios.
Right.
And and here's the thing that was very interesting. It's basic. Founders Coffee is a straightaway is a literal straightaway, 15-minute straightaway to Warner Brothers Studios.
Yep. Yep.
Now that also adds a little more weight that yeah, they are in contact with one another.
Right.
And so then we also and really there's also something that I just learned from experience where from really when people say that they want one thing, like for example he wanted the Snyder Cut on HBO Max,
Right. Right.
and really I feel like really it's gonna be the opposite effect, and I'm usually right. And and really also like there is one thing that is very 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 interesting is that I found that I saw no one talking about is the new Warner Brothers logo. Now this can mean absolutely nothing, but it really does kind of make sense.
Right.
If you look up the old DC logo signs, the first one, the colors were white and blue.
Right.
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 So, and we all know that Ann Sarnoff, the new chairperson of WB, is the new chairperson of WB has connections, has like a legacy from DC. Like for those who don't know, this is a fun fact. Ann Sarnoff's father-in-law actually gave Christopher Reeves the role of Superman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
like I said, and it really like for right now, and really like for another thing like people and so yeah, and really for something that is also interesting about, and now going back to that IMDb thing that basically confirms that it's going to be in theaters for me is this. I don't know if you remember what I told you, but a few minutes ago, but that movie Untitled Film in 2020, it's going to be in April.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about this.
All right.
So that we all know that Zack Snyder is very thematic. Like we all know that he's very thematic. Like think about this from the original DC movies, from Man of Steel to Justice League, right?
Right.
So in the original Justice League, we saw Superman being portrayed as this Christ figure, right?
Right.
Now and then for the original, and from BVS and to Justice League, there were 3 movies, counting Justice League. One was Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
2 was Suicide Squad, and 3 was Justice League.
Right.
Now I have a question for you.
All right.
What does that sound like to you?
Say that again. One was Man of Steel.
One was Wonder Woman.
Right.
The second was Suicide Squad, and the third was Justice League. What does that sound like?
Man, you tell me, man. You're the smart one.
Okay. So, and like I said, for Zack Snyder, he's very thematic. And Superman was portrayed as Jesus Christ.
Right.
So here's the thing: what is in April?
Easter
Sunday, aka the rise of when Jesus Christ rose from the dead.
Correct.
So where do those three movies go? Why did I say those three movies? The first Superman died on BBS.
Right.
So on the first movie, he was still dead. On Wonder Woman, he was still dead.
Right.
On Suicide Squad, he was still dead.
Right.
And then on the third day / movie, Justice League, he rose from the dead.
Right. Right.
So really, I think that really for April, so it took 3 days / in this case, so it took 3 days.
I'll X that out. I'll edit it out. So it took.
Keep it raw, dude.
all right, whatever. So here's
the thing. On the first, so it took 3 days for Jesus Christ to rise from the dead.
Right.
And for Superman, it took a Christ figure in Superman 3 days, or in this case, 3 movies, to rise from the dead.
Correct.
AKA Easter Sunday, which is on April.
Right. Right.
So, and wouldn't you know it, coincidentally, that untitled film, the day for April is April 3rd.
Right.
Now, some people may think that, that's the day that Cyborg was supposed to be in. And I'm like, okay, sure, was the original date. But why didn't and people said you can't edit that out. But my question is, why would they have it on? And really, when I found that IMDb post untitled movie, it was a Wednesday, it was a Thursday because I was at work at the time. So yeah, it was on a Thursday, and let me tell you, I was looking at IMDb the day before, and that wasn't there, and that untitled film wasn't there then.
Right.
It was there on Thursday.
Right. So, I get it. So, we're kind of like, we're still holding on to the Jesus theme, like it was kind of started in Man of Steel.
Right.
I get it. So, let me ask you this. Damn, I just had a great question. And I forgot it. So, all right. So, if he's doing like the Jesus theme, do you think we are still kind of waiting for Superman to rise? Do we feel like that right now, even in the fandom?
Yes, because if you think about it like this, where we, if you think about it like this, we all say that we all consider a Justice League or as it's called the Justice League, not Justice League, right?
Right.
So in turn, Superman didn't rise yet.
Right. Right.
And this is really something ironic that I found out just at the thought of my head about BVS and what Batman said at the end of the film. And it has to do with that men are still good speech, where people who kind of just where people think that fans are just toxic, and if you just replace man if you just replace man with fandom can be good again, and really you just have that. So in a way, like Warner Brothers hiding the Snyder Cut has really shown the light of the fandom in the release of the Snyder Cut movement.
Right.
So just something I found pretty ironic about the whole situation.
Right. Right. I think you're onto something. I really do. I mean, the way you put it together, I don't see why not. I have no objection to what you're saying, actually.
Well, thanks to a video game called Danganronpa.
Yeah, I never heard of that video game before.
Man, you're missing out.
Really?
I'll have to text you the game so that you can play it.
So this game,
yeah, you're missing.
This game teaches you what? Critical thinking?
It teaches you critical thinking and really to look at all the possibilities.
Right.
So in other words, in short term, it's the best video game to teach you how to be Batman.
No, yo, I play Metal Gear Solid all the time, right? And I think that is the best video game to teach you how to be Batman. Everybody turns on you. Everybody is like,
yeah.
What game console is the one you were telling me about?
It's on PC and PS4.
Damn right, PS4. All right, so you're a cool, you're a cool dude already.
Yeah.
You ever play Metal Gear?
Yeah, I played a little.
All right, I asked everybody that just to make sure they're cool or not. All right, so what should we do? Should we just wait, or should we keep putting pressure, or what?
For now, really, I think it can go either way. Like, if you, for now, let's do like what I like to call a little experiment where for now we play cool for Comic-Con experience. Right. And then we'll see what happens there. Let that pass, let them have some breathing room, and then let's say around New Year's Eve-ish, then if the Snyder Cut isn't released or if we haven't heard anything about it, then we kind of go all out on that.
Right.
On New Year's Eve.
Oh wow, New Year's Eve, huh? So
yep.
So Zach might listen to this show. How about you?
Yep, I know. He's probably laughing his butt off.
How about you put some pressure on Zach right now? What do you got to say to him?
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, and another thing that you might not know, speaking of Zack Snyder and his other projects, you do know that Army of the Dead. Hold on one second. Oh, hey, nephew. Hey, so, sorry, I'll be back. I'm doing like everything. Okay, I'm back.
All right.
So, where was I? Oh yeah. So speaking of Zack Snyder and his other projects, you do know that already know that Army of the Dead is coming out, right?
Yeah. But I don't know when.
Oh, it's coming out on winter of next year.
2021?
2020.
Oh, 2020. Perfect. Okay. So we might have 2 Zack Snyder movies.
Huh?
I said we might have 2 Zack Snyder movies in 2020. Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I said we might have 2 Zack Snyder movies in 2020.
Yep.
Oh, that.
And really, Zach is going. Zach and Jay Oliva are doing something very interesting and very new that I've never seen them do for them at all. Which is apparently Netflix just announced yesterday that they are doing an anime that is based on Norse mythology.
Yep, I saw that.
So that's going to be very interesting to see.
That's going to be dope. Are you looking forward to seeing Army of the Dead?
Yeah.
You know any special tidbits about Army of the Dead that you want to drop on my show?
No, not really.
I like the way you investigate, though, man. You're perfect for this show.
Yeah. Yep.
Where are you from?
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. All right. I just had another dude from Tennessee on the show the other day. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you're like an hour behind me, right? So it's only like 8:47 over there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So what got you into the Snydercut movement? Why do you like Zack Snyder, or what interests you about the movement? We'll talk about Zack Snyder next, but let's stick on the movement. What interests you about doing this stuff, like podcasting, going in the comment sections? You hit me up on Instagram all the time. What attracts you to the Snydercut movement?
What attracts me to the Snydercut movement is really kind of like what the opposite, kind of like what, and I'm sorry to put two fandoms against each other, but it's the best way I can do it. Really, it's kind of like the difference between the MCU fans and really Marvel MCU fans and DCEU fans, because really what I noticed about the two is that really is kind of really that Marvel's and the MCU fans are really kind of like the MCU can do no wrong and stuff like that.
Right.
And they talk about like how just how awesome the movie is. While for DC EU fans, like, 'cause we're really not we're really not too afraid to voice our opinions
Right.
and really about a movie like we talk about the good and the bad, because and really this is and I know this is cliche, but no movie is perfect. So
Right.
really, like, we talk about how the movies and how they are to our opinions, and we talk about the movies as really what did we learn from them, what could happen next, and really, like, overall it's like what was the lesson in all of these movies, or in that movie that we just watched.
Right. So that
So really, like,
So you think our fandom is just smarter than Marvel, huh?
no, I would say kind of more open, because I've talked to some Marvel fans who are just so close-minded and saying, no, you're wrong. You like, and they didn't even give me a reason to tell me how I'm wrong about it.
Right.
So really, I would say that that we're smarter than them. I would say that we're more open-minded.
Right.
Really.
I agree. So tell me this. What attracted you to Zack Snyder?
Really? Wow. Where do I start with that one? Okay. so really, how I got attracted to Zack Snyder was really started with the 300 movie, the original one.
Right.
And really how, or no, actually no, it was actually Sucker Punch, which is another movie that critics hated.
Right.
Or wait, never mind. It's actually how I like how not only him as a filmmaker, but actually how he is as a person. Like, with how critics keep panning his movies, like saying that it's horrible, he really just doesn't care about the critics. He only cares about the fans.
Right.
And really, for those who don't know about this, like, really, for starters, like, I'm gonna start off with the casting of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. So, as it turns out, people say that it was Patty Jenkins. People who are praising Patty Jenkins for casting Wonder Woman. For a fact, like, there's an actual article out there that Patty Jenkins was actually completely against Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman.
Right, definitely. It was Zack that did it.
And really, like, a whole nother thing, really, is that in promoting BVS, he did say that Batman, in a article, that Batman that he was going for was the Golden Age Batman, aka the first Batman, where he was kind of like this killer that people are so against, and really there's like a scene from Frank Miller, from the Frank Miller novel, where we have that tank that Batman shoots in BVS.
Yep.
And in the actual Frank Miller novel, Batman actually did shoot the guy in the head, and the guys in the studio were saying, you gotta shoot that guy in the head,
Right.
just like in the comic. And he was like, no, because he said that he wanted to do it like in a way where Batman would shoot like that tank, like, and he would kill the guy, where it would be like, oh, he didn't have to be associated with that thing
Right.
that blew up and killed the guy.
Right. I saw that interview when he said that he was just gonna shoot him. You're talking about the fire tank when he had the flamethrower on Superman's mom, and instead of him shooting him in the head, he shot him in the flamethrower gas tank, and it just blew him up. But that was still cool too. He died. Fuck it. I mean, it was still cool, you know.
Yeah. So, and really, like, there's another thing really about, and really, like, I want to get this out of the way because I do know that there are some people who do hate Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. And I gotta say that really I kind of did like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex, because for those who read the comics, it was actually Henry Cavill who actually said this, like, about how there's this comic called Superman Birthright, where Lex was actually portrayed with just like how Jesse Eisenberg was, which from the way he looked, like with the red hair, that people called a wig, which wasn't, because he was actually bald, and really where in the comic Superman Birthright, he was portrayed as a guy that was too smart. He was aesthetic. He had clear social anxiety, just like the Lex in BBS. And really when it came to Superman, and just like Lex in BBS, he saw this person who we always thought knew was a threat, and really how he wanted to control Superman because he wanted that power. Right. Or just like how Lex said in BBS, if God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. If he is all good, he cannot be all powerful. Correct.
You're dope, man. You're right on point with like everything. And I think Jesse Eisenberg was a perfect fit, you know. I really like this character. I think that's my favorite part of Zack Snyder. Not just his movies look amazing. Everybody know that. And you know, some people say all he has is, you know, flash and flare, but his casting is my favorite part of him. You know, like Ben Affleck as Batman, like, come on, man, you hit it right out of the park. Like Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, that's right out of the park. You killed it. And Superman, Henry Cavill, that's the best Superman. I mean, he looks like Superman, you know, like it's casted perfectly. Or even Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. I mean, it's just it's perfect.
Yeah, and with how Zach has shot that warehouse scene, I was like, oh wow, I can't wait to see how Zach does this.
Right.
Like I was picturing in my mind, like if he played Batman Arkham Origins and played that boss fight with Deathstroke. There's a reason why that is the top of the list.
The subject of the day, where did the towers go? Well, once upon a time, there were 2 towers. Then they went away. So finding out what happened is the most important thing. Then you can determine how it happened, who was involved, why they did it. But what we're going to concentrate on, because it's the most important thing, is what happened. The main thing of what happened, the towers didn't burn up, nor did they slam to the ground. They turned into dust in midair. Yeah, you see this like a stick. Keep watching it. It turns to dust. And right after that, here it is from a slightly different angle, you'll just faint. Just faints and dustifies. Pretty neat trick. Remember, it peels away like a banana, leaves it exposed, blue sky, crisp edges. That's not dust settling on it. That's building 3. A lot of people overlook that building. And this is the remains of Tower 2, about the lobby size down there. To remind you of how big of a mass was there. And then it is gone. This picture was taken on 9/11. That material there is all that was left of that building. Where is all the debris? We're going to concentrate on the main body of Building 4 for a minute, because it's fascinating the way it just went missing. Where'd it go? Mind you, that was also the location where the top of Tower 2 was tipping over and then it turned to dust. That's where it would have fallen. If the top 35 floors of Tower 2 had fallen to the ground, landed on Building 4, would it have looked like that? And looking at it directly on, here's what you would see. If you looked out of through the building across the street with binoculars, looked in, you could probably see what was left on someone's desk. And it also might remind you of the Pentagon. It's a clean slice. Another one of my terms is lather. Like lather in a shower, but you're not going to confuse that with what happened on 9/11. Didn't it look like that Alka-Seltzer effect? That was lather kind of pouring out? Well, it turns out the building's lathered up too. From ground to roof. One side and one side only. This is Building 7, the north face. And we have busted out windows. We don't know what this is, but from ground to roof. And the wind that day was only like 7, 8 or 8 miles per hour up there. It's very energized. If it was smoke from a fire inside, first of all, it wouldn't come out of the entire face of the building. It's not pushing out, it's being sucked out, it looks like. We don't need to know what caused it to just be able to observe what's happening. That does not look like a fire. So here we have what was left after the towers went away. Only buildings with a WTC prefix were destroyed that day. Building 6, it had all these cylindrical cutouts in it. Approximately the middle 50% of that building is missing. Building 5 had cylindrical cutouts in it. Some circular cutouts there. Building 7 went missing. The buildings on either side weren't really destroyed much. There's some stab wounds, I call it, some pieces of steel beam that went into this building, but essentially nothing happened to this building. The sidewalk in front of it didn't even get covered. Now we're looking back from between building 4 and 5. There would be over 1 million tons of debris piled on the ground if those towers had slammed to the ground. Didn't happen. Looking from 180 degrees on the other side, again, here's stairwell B, the north and south facade. Where's the debris? There is some, okay, you got a few pieces of stuff here and there, but it's not anywhere near the amount to explain 2 110-story buildings and a 22-story building. Toilets. There should be at least 3,000 toilets in those buildings. Recognizable parts. So you have all this gray dust. You should have some nice shiny sections of porcelain. These are the biggest office buildings in the world, and I didn't see one desk or one chair or one phone, nothing. What remains of the north wall of Tower 1 is about 8 stories. That was a 110-story building. So where are the other 102 stories of just the north wall? This is the footprint of Tower 1, right here, right up against that wall. If that tower had fallen over, crashed down, whatever, if it had slammed to the ground any which way, it would have ruptured that bathtub wall. Mind you, that's an old wall. That's all that was left of the north tower. North wall, the south wall, and a little bit of stairwell B. Now the towers were steel structures with aluminum cladding on the outside. Well, you see a few pieces of aluminum cladding laying around. Yeah, you get a steel piece there. But right in front of the front door, why don't you have piles of steel structure? And there's this ambulance in pretty much pristine condition. Maybe the door got done a little bit, but I don't see any big piece of steel clobbering the top of it. Well, let's talk about what the bathtub is. Before, when the towers were first built, there was just the towers out there. They were built on bedrock 70 feet below the water table. And they extended out, you know, wanting to get more real estate on Manhattan. Manhattan would have been flooded if that crashed to the ground. The seismic recordings would have reflected 2 500,000-ton buildings slamming to the ground, but they did not. This is an earthquake that was in Manhattan in January of that year, on the same bedrock. It was in Midtown Manhattan. Now, let's look at the signal from Tower 1. It's not that high frequency kind of rattling look. And it's approximately the same magnitude. This is a 2.3 instead of a 2.4. But even more interesting, the length of time, it took 8 seconds that the ground shook. Building 7 went away. But what was most striking about that is that little red vertical line, that's when it happened. And there's nothing really that stands out and apart from background noise. Where's the signal for Building 7? The Seattle Kingdome was a controlled demolition, and this is the signal it leaves. Notice it has an S wave and a B wave arrival, and it lasts like 52 seconds for the majority of it. Where's the signal for Building 7? So here we're looking at the toasted cars. This bus, to me it doesn't look like it burned up. Burnt things usually look black. This car here looks rusted. That's pretty fast for steel to rust.
Car after car after car, buses completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel.
You said you saw melted tour buses, melted cars?
The cars that were right down there was just unbelievable. They were twisted and melted into nothing.
You have literally an engine that is melded together with other parts of the car.
The engine block? Wait, what? Why would it be gone? It's So this is more of that same street. This is still early in the day. Building 7 is still in good shape. I didn't see one bit of evidence showing a gas tank or petrol tank exploded. They didn't seem to explode. It was something else going on. A lot of people have seen this image saying, it's proof of heat. So this point E, they say it's 819 Fahrenheit. There's a lake there. A water main broke, filled the street with water. And this guy's even walking around in knee-deep water. He doesn't look like a boiled chicken. Water boils at 212 Fahrenheit. So that's not hot.
Out still on the rubble, it's still, I believe, 1,100 degrees. The guy's boots just melt within a few hours, and they're burning their feet.
The guy's boots melt in a few hours. We have no reports of burned feet. Let's look at the Earth's magnetic field. Now, this was recorded in Alaska. Ground-based magnetometers at 6 different locations. WTC-1 first gets its hole, and then WTC-2 gets its hole. WTC-2 goes poof, 1 goes poof, and building 7 goes poof. But the key thing here is approaching this. Notice about 20 minutes before the North Tower gets its hole, the magnetic field starts to shift downward. As soon as it gets its hole, it starts back upward. And as soon as the second tower gets its hole, it goes horizontal again. But it starts going downhill, really goes downhill after Tower 2 goes away, and then when Tower 1 goes poof, it really drops off and it's haywire all afternoon. Until Building 7 goes poof. Just coincidence, right?
You know, and it's one funny thing I think of if only a hurricane had come on 9/11. Remember, they didn't know how to use instruments, the terrorists. They took off in Boston, and they literally, after they took over the aircraft, they steered by line of sight. And it was that crystal clear September day.
Sure was. Beautiful.
And if it were only one of these weather days, history would have been rewritten. And I think about that a lot.
You missed that one. This was on 9/11. There's the hurricane he wished for. There's New York, right off the end of Long Island. Cape Cod, it was actually raining that day. Came up this way, and the 4 days leading up to 9/11, it went in a straight line to New York City. 8 o'clock in the morning, it pulled up to a chalk line, stopped, and turned around that afternoon and started heading out of town. Kind of weird that we didn't hear about it. Here's what was shown on these four networks about 10 minutes to 15 minutes before the North Tower got its hole. No mention of a hurricane. Pretty interesting. But here's what should have been shown. And a weatherman that I know, Scott Stevens, said, like, how much effort does it take to put an icon on the map? Here. This is the approximate size of the hurricane and the location.
I don't know if you heard a little earlier me raise this question, which was actually raised by ABC's Jackie Judd, is where is all the rubble gone? When you look at where the towers used to stand, there is surprisingly so little rubble. Where did all the rubble go?
One volunteer, Robert Gerlinski, explained to me the reason there's so little rubble is that all of it simply fell down into the ground and was pulverized, evaporated.
What was that he said? Fell down to the ground, was pulverized, and evaporated. The dust rolled a particular distance and then went up. Bob and Bree were in that apartment there, and it was wonderful of them to have shared their video. They took a video of this dust cloud rolling out. It didn't quite touch the window and went up. Never touched the window, like within an inch or two. This is a view, a couple of the frames from their video. You can see the dust rising. It rose like yeast bread. It never hit their window. Just rose up. Really spooky looking. But that dust went up, or whatever it was, those fumes, I call it fumes just generically. Dark stuff went westward. The whitish stuff went south and up to a certain altitude and then sort of wafts away. We're going to take a closer look. We heard about all these jumpers, and the firefighters on the ground, and several of the fellows said that there's like 5 a minute, 4 a minute, 3 a minute out of each face of the building. And the firefighters had never seen people jump like this before. Maybe they'd seen, in all their 20 years on the force, seen one jumper from a building. And that was like the 3rd story. Nothing like this. Why would they do that? And this fellow looks like he's taking his pants off. Now, what would cause you to do this? These people want to live, or else they wouldn't still be hanging on. Something different was going on. So if I'm up there and the building's on fire, I'm going to go to the bathroom as fast as I can before we lose water pressure and get myself wet. If the sprinklers came on, I'd be wet. If the sprinklers didn't come on, it was hot in there, I'd be wet. So it's a good chance these people are wet. You know, when you put, this is just an example, not meant to imply that's exactly what it was, but when you put food on a paper plate in the oven, in the microwave oven, the chicken on the plate cooks, but the paper plate doesn't, if it doesn't have water molecules in it. If it's wet and it heats up. Water molecules are affected more by microwave energy. It's a form of directed energy. Let's say there's some type of energy field within the building, maybe microwave. So if you were wet clothing, you'd want to get those wet clothes off, or else you'd be feeling like you were being fried. But really, this behavior seems explainable by some weird energy field within the building. People hear about thermitic material being found in the dust. What's thermitic material? Well, we have a building that was turned to powder in midair. What was the building made out of? It was steel structure with aluminum cladding. Let's dustify that, turn the building into nanodust. You have aluminum and iron. Iron, that fine, is going to rust immediately. Guess what thermite is? This and this. So if we didn't have that in the dust, something more serious would be wrong. And that sure doesn't look like a buckled column. It looks more like a piece of lasagna noodle. Not smooth like that. And these are not even cracked. I don't know how you could bend that even if you heated it. A smooth bend like that without cracking it. More than 180 degrees. Some I-beams also curled around the vertical axis. So if you overload something, it would sag like that. So what explains this? Then in Banker's Trust, there's this beam, or column. I don't think there's any way you can mechanically load this beam to get what we saw. Here's these columns we saw at the World Trade Center. This is what someone has done in their lab. This metal is not kinked, not buckled, smooth curvature. Proof of concept. The Hutchison effect. John Hutchison's work reproduces all of these same effects, all of them. Now we're going to look at a sample of John Hutchison's work. This is a solid block of iron, 2 inches by 2 inches by 7 inches. And John Hutchison's samples are a little bit cooler than ambient temperature after he's finished with them. It's not hot. What he does is create a static field, and within the static field, he interferes radio frequency signals, like microwave. This thing's kind of interesting. A solid piece of steel. It's not the microwave signal, and it's not the static field. It's the combination. It's kind of like a key opening a lock. Now watch this piece of steel here. In this area, it will come apart and move. He plugs this into a regular ball outlet. So for those who need to compare ideas, what I present is not a theory. I present evidence, and I have evidence of something that can mimic all the effects. I'm not saying it is that. I think the only person who knows is who pushed the button that day, or who held the gun to their head to make them do it. But what we see is how we could replicate all of the effects. Now, these are the bits of evidence that we have. These are the theories or speculations or hypotheses. They can't produce any of these effects. Matter of fact, to the contrary. You put a bomb in the basement, you break the bathtub. Bombs are hot. You break the bathtub and water rushes in, you have a steam explosion. You also have a seismic signal with the big bomb in the basement. If you cut the building up for controlled demolition and drop it to the ground, you'd have a pile of rubble left. It just goes on and on. None of these things can explain any of those. So, where did the towers go? Gone with the wind. So, pretty much ends it. I would like to say something here. I am just kind of overwhelmed by you folks. An audience who wants to hear about this, who wants to understand. It just really warms my heart.